What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake KBO DFS Wise Stream. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013, and I, of course, am from the WiseTake Nation, which you can find on all the social media platforms listed above or directly at wisetake.com. We are a DFS content provider as well as a DFS community designed to help make you a better DFS player. Go check us out at wisetake.com if you're looking for that premium content. You can get a day pass for whatever sport you choose. We have esports. We've got League of Legends specifically, which I'll be playing. They got all the big contests for League of Legends and for golf, so they don't have a ton of they don't have some great contests for KBO today. But I mean, it's been tough. Not for me particularly, but in general, I've sensed the general public kind of struggling with the timing. Most people have jobs, and hopefully, and or some way of making income. And they're having a hard time waking up to get players in. And regardless, baseball is a very fair sport to begin with. That's why I always recommend building as many teams as possible. Although today, I'll be taking a different approach because of how bad the contests are, because I got some PGA out there, because I got some League of Legends out there. I'm just going to play like 45 teams to 50 teams in the donkey. 40 to 50 teams in the donkey. And just say, fuck it. But this is an interesting slate. Very interesting slate. And listen, guys, I'm just like a home run away, a double away from some pretty monster scores. So I sense your frustration. It seems like you just need that thing to go your way once, and sometimes it seems like it doesn't. But you've seen through process as many days as I've lost with you guys. You guys have also seen me pop a few times, so it's like it's gonna happen. But you got to give yourself an opportunity, put yourself in the best position to win. With that said, shout out to Anthony Rodriguez has just stacked the Kims. Michael Sims said a couple bad days, can't get the right lineup to score over 90 points. Well, Michael, I think again, like trying to build multiple teams if you can, if you're building one $10 team, break that up and build like 10 $1 teams or something like that to build yourself some confidence and to get yourself some variety. That would be my suggestion. You should be able to build a lineup over 90 points if you're building 10 of them bitches, right? BJack281 says, yo, CK013, what's happening? I'm ready to do that dirty. Let's get this money. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Okay, 5 teams, Mike. That's not bad. But like, if you got $5, like, see how many you can get in the, if you're playing on DraftKings in the 25 cent, the 50 cent. I know it's not as exciting, and like if you win, but just to kind of get some confidence going and give you the ability to have a sweat, give you something kind of hanging around. I'm assuming you build teams by hand, which is obviously fine. That's a little more time consuming, takes more focus, but at least you have a really good grasp on what you're doing. King B, LG hasn't hit a homer in 2 days. The difference between cashing and winning. Yeah, no, I agree, man. Like, cashing isn't an issue like with LG, but putting you over the top. I needed Hyun-Soo Kim to do a little something in his last at bat, and that would have been everything. We're talking about potentially a five-figure night, but he couldn't. I needed the Kia Tigers. I ran into the same issue. I needed Preston Tucker, and like these offenses did well. They were the best offenses, but you need a little bit more. Just couldn't give it to you. Jeffrey Days, what's happening, man? Good to see you in here. So some good news for most of you guys. I know a lot of you guys are always asking about the weather, and normally I don't have a forecast available for you by the time we do this, but we actually do have one today, and it's going to be an interesting weather slate for sure. So there's really one game as of right now with the primary risk. Now, this weather report is from our boy Kevin Roth. We did the DFS interview with him. He works for Roto Grinders. He's an actual meteorologist. He does not live in Korea, and he doesn't have access to the same type of equipment, same type of models he has when he's making forecasts for the United States. But he's a fucking weather guy. So I'm using him and I'm relying on him. And he's a great dude too. Just recently became a father. But anyway, he has his report up. Mind you, I do put a link to his report in my article for anyone who subscribed to WiseTake.com and reads the article. But he's going to make an update around 2 a.m., he says. Around 2 a.m. So 2:30, he's going to wake up around 2. So 2:30, something like that, right? So by the time, if you are getting up to build your teams, when the lineups come out, 4:35, whatever it is, a.m. Eastern, then you could actually check and get an update. But preliminarily, we will go over the forecast he has. So the NC Dinos and the Kia Tigers, he says wet, very wet. Postponement looks likely. And we know that for the most part, they've been a little reluctant to play in the rain. Aside from the KT Wiz, they seem to be one of the more aggressive teams. Obviously, doubleheaders are not something they know they were racking them up a lot. And they're in the rain season, so that you would think that they would have went into this knowing they have to play through a little bit of rain. But if Roth says it's very wet, I'm assuming that they'll probably just go ahead and postpone it. But again, nothing's official. And I'll be up in the morning to check his forecast to see what his update is. But as of right now, that's the riskiest game we got. And that's huge because that's Chang Mo Koo. People love that guy. And people love the Dinos. They're like the most popular team in the league in America. At least if you ask Twitter. If you go on Twitter and you look for KBO fans, you'll see a lot of American KBO fans. You'll see a lot of NC Dinos, aka Dingo Babies. KT Wiz at SK. He says it looks like they could be north of the axis of heavy rain. Thus, he feels much better about that game than Kia. So it sounds like there's some risk, but he feels a lot better about that game going off than the Kia game. LG, speaking of LG, at Hanwha, halfway in between the southern games that look really wet and the northern games that look really dry. He says dicey. So the way I would read this so far is the riskiest game is the Dinos and Kia. Second risky as of right now is LG Hanwha. And then moderately, like, we'll see, like, that's probably the one we need the update for the most, right? The KT Wiz at SK. Positives, Samsung at Doosan. This is the northern game category. And he says it likely stays dry, or at least mostly dry. And then, of course, the Giants play against Kiwoom. Kiwoom is the only team with a dome. So we've got 3 out of the 5 games with some type of risk. One that seems like it's just going to be marked off. And it's kind of a good thing for me personally because this is a deep-ass pitching slate, like too deep. So it's nice that Mother Nature's going to make some decisions for us, or at least we hope, or at least we think. The other ones, we're going to have to play the risk game. And again, that's why it's important, if you can, to get that update. And you don't have to wake up at 2, right? If you're waking up at 5 anyway, or 4:30 anyway to build your teams or to confirm lineups, or use our tools once we confirm the lineups is what I mean. Cheat sheets, projections, etc. Then while you're there, you'll fucking see if there's an update, and there should be one. So keep that in mind. So there's some risk, and I'll try to remember this as we go through these games. With that said, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please subscribe, hit the notifications bell. Make sure you don't miss out whenever we go live. We do all sorts of free DFS content here on the YouTube and Twitch channels of the WiseTake Nation. And if you haven't hit that like button, guys, please hit that like button. I know there's not as many of you as there was before. KBO's losing steam a little bit in America. So I heard mixed reports. I'm going to ask you guys, those of you who are grinding it out, because you guys are obviously like crazy ass baseball fans if you're grinding it out with me. Either that or DFS fans. Either way, you speak my language. So I'm going to ask you, I heard John Heyman tweeted that the MLB is expected to, or they're basically reached an agreement and they're going to be announcing it or whatever at some point. But then a couple hours later, he started trending and everybody was calling bullshit. And I think the MLB Players Association even came out and called bullshit on it, saying no, there's no agreement at all. So I don't know where Heyman got that from. Can you guys verify for me? I see Heyman's the one saying yeah, and I've seen a couple people like including me. I almost made a tweet like, oh shit, yeah, it's over. The KBO grind's over, or it will be. And like I said, he was trending, and I thought maybe okay, he's trending because he broke the news. And when I actually clicked on it, it looked like he was trending because everybody was calling bullshit. So you guys let me know what the deal is with that. Either way, I ain't gonna talk no shit about the KBO because until I see an official schedule or something, this may be the only baseball we get this year. So with that said, let's jump into this game. So the first one, we've got the KT Wiz and the SK Wyverns. Again, this is one of the games that has, I think I would rank it third in risk. If 1 was the most risky, 5 was the least risky, we would rank this one third. So it's kind of right smack in the middle, I would think. So I think that means the pitchers, if anything, that's the biggest bump. And also, KT's been really aggressive with the rain. I know they're not home, so it may not be their say, but they've been really aggressive playing through some rain. So if it's not pouring, I think they will try to just get it through. We've got Odorisma Despaigne going up against Jong Hoon Park. One thing you'll notice about this as you go through, the totals aren't nearly as high as they have been in this because, like I said, we got really good pitching on this slate. And both of these guys are actually pretty good pitchers. Odorizmer obviously has had some bad luck recently, but overall, I think his skill set fits in this league. His numbers still look healthy. We'll get into that. SK, not known as a good offense, at least not this year, but not necessarily like they're not always just some team you can just go at it and pick on, right? You can see their opposing strikeout rate only about 15.16%. And the KT Wiz is a good offense. They sat Kang yesterday, and that was really like when they sit that guy, this is a different team. You want to see Kang and Rojas in there together to give them some power depth mixed in with these other players. So you'll want to see. I'm assuming he was just out for rest because he was recently injured, but he makes a big difference. And look, maybe now that he's back, they rest Rojas. I'm not sure, but something to keep an eye on. Probably not, because Rojas looks like a fucking beast. He looks like a guy that doesn't need rest. You know what I mean? If we look at the pitchers themselves, so Odorizmer, like I said, ran into some bad luck. He got a 4.6 ERA, but only a 3.04 WHIP. One of the best in the league, I'm sure. Strikeout to walk ratio is solid, so it's not really walks that's doing it to him. A 19% K rate is not as high as it was when he started the season in a small sample, obviously, but I think somewhere around 19 is where we could expect him. So I'm actually cool with Odorizmer. SK is a team that we're not typically afraid of. We've been playing them a lot. We've been playing the bats a lot, but I think this might be the time I flip the script, only because I don't think Odorizmer is a bad pitcher. I think he's just been really unlucky. And so at 8,600, and it's funny too, because before you're weighing it out like against Chang Mo-koo, Drew Gagnon, some of these guys, but if they're not there, then that really opens things up a little bit more. So I'm interested in Odorizmer. Also, again, I like the fact that they've been a little more aggressive in the rain. On the other side, as far as ownership, you'll get this guy real low owned, and he's been fucking nasty, man. He's got a 3.83 ERA, but a 3.58 FIP, which is pretty solid. He's got a 25% strikeout rate so far. And he's a more volatile of a pitcher. You can see he walks more people, and he gives up more home runs. But he's going to be low owned because you've got Straley under him, Tyler Wilson, Odorizmer, all these guys. And I'm assuming that's for assuming most of the people know that game's going to rain out with Chang Mo-koo. Can you imagine if there's mad people out there who aren't getting their information? I would assume if you're putting money behind something, you're at least looking, right? Because you guys are here, right? You guys went looking. You guys found me. Because you would put money in, and you don't want to put money in without doing any research. So I'm assuming that people are going to know about the weather. But Koo is like 60% on every day. There's going to be like 15 to 20% people, you know what I mean? I don't know, maybe that's high, but there's going to be people out there who the night before they put his name in, didn't bother checking the weather. And then when they wake up, either they'll get lucky and the game played and nobody else played it because they thought it was going to get postponed, or he'll be just, or he lit his money on fire with the minute he went to sleep. But anyway, Jong-Hoo Park, it's hard to make a strong argument. We have a lot of good pitchers on this slate, some that we know a little bit better. KT Wiz is not a team I love to pick on, especially with King in that lineup. We'll see if he's in the lineup or not. But I think that he will be low owned, and he's got some upside. That's the bottom line. Holla for a dollar and then money for tomorrow. All right, let's go on to. Oops, fucking clicking. Oh, my bad. Hit you out with the intro real quick. My bad. That was my bad. Reckless with this thing, man. I'm reckless. Let's go to the LG Twins and the Hanwha Eagles. Tyler Wilson and Shi Huang Zhang. So, assuming we'll check what the weather is. So LG halfway in between the games. So this one's a little bit more risky. And that sucks because Tyler Wilson has got to be a cash game lock at this point. I know he's been a little disappointing recently, but Hanwha's just been money. They had, what's his name, in trouble several times. Chen Gayu Lim. They had him in trouble several times. Just couldn't get it done. You're asking for too many hits. Unless you get a home run from these guys, you're asking for too many fucking hits. I don't know. So Tyler Wilson, we'll look at his numbers, but obviously the matchup is just phenomenal. The best it gets in this league. Look at that K rate, 24.63% for the opposing team, 255 over 0.76 ISO, just phenomenal. This guy Taehyung No has fucking zero stats right now because he's been garbage. LG, a very good offense. They've been playing well. Roberto Ramos is expected to come back any day now. He's in the projected lineup every day because they're waiting for him to come back. So any day now he could be back. And if he's back, that's a fucking huge difference. Let's look at the pitching and see how much of a difference. He's everything for that power. Like King B said it, right? So Tyler Wilson first, 8,200 against Hanwha is too cheap anyway. He's another one. Him and Oda Rismer have both just been fucking unlucky. And listen, Wilson's cost me a shit ton of money. I think the last time he pitched, he got me a 4, and I finished 7th in the donkey. The difference of $250 and 10 grand. $250 and 10 grand, 7th place to first. And I was 12 points out of first place, and Tyler Wilson got me a fucking 4. So trust me, man, I don't like this dude. I know he was unlucky, but why the fuck did you have to get unlucky? I'm cursing way too much. I'm sorry. But why did you have to get so unlucky at a time where I needed you the most? Irks me. And it's happened like 3 starts in a row for him where he's just having problems striking dudes out or just giving up too many hits. But if we look, it still looks like he's still pitching fine, still pitching like himself. His numbers aren't that different from where they were last year. The walks a little bit, but that can come with frustration. He's playing Hanwha, a team that's going to swing a little bit more freely. It doesn't have a ton of power. So if you could stomach the risk of the weather, which he didn't sound like it was too crazy. We'll have better information when we get the update, but it's not as bad as the Dino situation, but it's not good. It's like dicey, he says. He says dicey. Kevin Roth says dicey. That's what it is. But phenomenal spot for him, for Tyler Wilson, no doubt. Shi Huang Zhang, one of the worst pitchers on the slate. Very simple. So that's the other aspect of this is LG will be popular, but looking like a strong stack once again. It's 5.23 FIP. So yeah, he's been unlucky, but he's still been garbage. LG's not a huge strikeout team. He walks, a 23% strikeout rate, but a 1.3 strikeout to walk ratio. So he walks a lot of people. Gives up dingers. Hanwha's park has given up a lot of runs lately. Hanwha's pitching staff has been terrible. Hanwha's bullpen has been horrendous. That dude Bell was getting pounded by LG, and they just left him in there. Probably to give their bullpen as much of a break as they could. They just left him in there to get his teeth kicked in. I almost felt bad for him, and then I realized, nah, man, he's getting paid a shit ton of money to play baseball. Even if it is in Korea, I don't care. I'm half Korean. I'd go there. Shit. My mom would come. She'd be happy. Anyway, let's move on. So yeah, I want to attack this guy. I want to pick on his ass. You know what I'm saying? Shi Huang Zhang. So LG on the table. Once again. Next up, we've got the lot of Giants and the Kiwoom Heroes. This game, if you don't want to fuck with any weather, this is the game for you. If you don't want weather to be a thing at all, you don't want to think about the weather, and you're comfortable rolling the dice on an offense that's been extremely disappointing, and an offense that's supposed to suck but has been really hot, with a couple of pitchers, one that really sucks, one that's supposed to be good but is pretty volatile, this is the game for you because they playing in a dome. A lot of Giants are that team that they're not expected to be good as a team, but they've been hot. We've seen this happen a couple times this season. When they get hot for a few days, and they're always low owned, even if they're in a good spot like they are today. Kiwoom is somewhat popular most slates, and they just suck. The one time they went off, and they went off of me, I won a cool G, so I appreciate them, even though I'm about to rip them. Every time they're chalk, they suck. The one time they went off, they were somehow low owned. They get Dan Straley. Look at the numbers, man. I mean, it seems like they suck, but then you look at their numbers: 386 WOBA, 183 ISO, and it's not like they have some like guy that came up here temporarily with a 400. They have a lot of guys who are hitting for power. Hai Sung Kim is not a guy who did last year. He is this year. 4 home runs already. Dongwon Park has 8 already. Ha Seong Kim's got 7 already. He had 19 last year. And Byung Ho Park is not even in this projected lineup. He didn't play yesterday, so I guess he's hurt or some shit. He didn't play yesterday, though. That was a big bummer when I saw him. He wasn't in there. I was like, damn. But even without him, they've got power. But they're playing Straley, who's been pretty fucking good in this league. And he's been a little volatile. He's had a bad game or two here or there, but he's been pretty good. And they're in a dome. Let's discuss. All right, let's get into the pitch mode. Pitch mode. So how good has Dan Straley been? He's got a 2.6 FIP. He's got a 26% K rate. Now, the strikeout to walk ratio, that's been his problem. 2.94 isn't terrible for him. I thought it would have been higher because he is walking people. So that's something to keep an eye on. He is walking dudes, and that can get pitchers in trouble, right? You walk the wrong person, you walk a couple people, now you have to pitch to the best hitter. You have to throw certain types of pitches because you have no room where to put them. and things get dicey, especially when you're Dan Straley and you're prone to giving up home runs. So this is an interesting situation because I do think Straley is one of the stronger values on the slate in terms of pricing on DraftKings. 7,600 for his upside is low, especially if we're not going to have Koo and Gagnon. In a game with no weather risk, right? Because even if it's like, well, you got him, Odorizma, Tyler Wilson and Despaigne both have at least some weather risk. Straley don't have any. But Straley's also playing a pretty good offense. Whereas Wilson's playing Hanwha, Odorizma's playing SK, Straley's playing Kiwoom. So you got some decisions to make, right? It's like a fucked up game show. It's pretty funny that it worked out that way. Mother Nature is just some of the things she does, man. Just puts you, people out there there's a lot of people out there that don't believe in coincidences or just don't, and sometimes some things are just unexplainable, right? But the way things fall sometimes, it almost seems like there's always a reason. Anyway, I'm getting on a tangent. This isn't a fucking philosophy podcast. All right, Sang-Ho Lee for Kiwoom. Now this guy is probably the worst pitcher on the slate. According to these numbers, probably the worst pitcher on the slate. 6.09 ERA, 5.34 FIP, only a 13% K rate, 3.33% home run percentage. So I do like a lot of Giants. And again, I don't know how popular they'll be because they never really are. Maybe if everybody is aware that they just lost on them. But I think LG will be popular. I think Doosan will be popular. Especially Doosan, because that game don't really have weather as far as from what we know. Kiwoom will probably get ownership even against Straley, just because people like to play Kiwoom. But people don't. I'm not saying the Giants are ever like 2% every night. I'm just saying that they're never as popular as the other people. Maybe one player, maybe Junwon Ji, whatever his name is, that's hitting homers. So I liked a lot of Giants, a whole lot of Giants. You know what I mean? I like them. Not that I want a whole lot of them. I'm just saying that I like a lot of Giants. That's the situation. Next up, we got the Dingo Babies and the Kia Tigers. So I'm going to talk about this game only because the forecast he made was like 12 hours in advance of first pitch, so things could change. So we'll discuss it. But again, we are fully, as of right now, we're kind of expecting this game to get canceled, right? So Chang-Mo Koo, now I tell you what, if I wake up at 3 a.m. and Roth's forecast has changed and it's like, oh shit's crazy, but it cleared up, I will play the shit out of Chang-Mo Koo and just pray that people didn't see it, people didn't wake up and they just assumed it was going to get canceled and just load up on this dude. Because he is far and above the best pitcher in this league right now. I say right now because there were guys that blended in around his area last year. Not this year. He stands out way well. He's blowing himself out from last year. So if weather isn't a problem, which again, as of right now, we think it is, I will play the shit out of Chang-Mo Koo. Put him in most teams, if not all teams. Even against Kia, who's been hot. Kia has been hot. You could, anyway, Drew Gagnon has been ridiculously good. Obviously, there's some risk against the DC Dinos on top of the weather risk. Being a very good offense, probably the best offense in the league, you could argue. And they haven't been striking out. Earlier in the year, they were. They've gotten some injuries, though, and some of these new guys may not be as good, but they don't really strike out as much. So he would be a guy that I would definitely be interested in, even against the Dinos, because, he'd do the sport in a 27% K rate, so even if he gives us some runs, he's striking dudes out, but, yeah. That's that. But again, this game, as of right now, we expect it to be postponed. But we'll see, man. Check the weather forecasts for yourself when you get up. Check Roth's thing. Make your own determination. We got our last game to get to. We got the Samsung Lions and the Doosan Bears. Eun Dong Hyo. When a pitcher has Dong in his name, it's not usually a good thing for him. Who Kwan Yu count on? Me. Doosan, very good offense. Samsung kind of expected to be a below average team, but they've been impressive this year, man. And when you look at their lineup, especially with Jawook Koo here, they got some players. Sang-Soo Kim is a very tough strikeout. He's not a power guy, but he will steal bases. Stole 21 bases last year. Jaewoo Koo hit 15 homers last year. Tyler Saladino's been stealing bases. He's kind of doing a little bit of everything, man. Stealing bases. They've been really aggressive on the bases. Hitting homers, hitting doubles. Seok Lee hit 19 homers last year. He's got 4 already. Hak-Ju Lee hitting for more power than he did last year. So, Min-Ho Kang at the bottom down there. Don't forget about him. He's bad in 8th, but he's got some pop. It's funny. His WOBA is terrible, but when he does hit it, he's like the Dos Equis guy. He doesn't always get a hit, but when he does, that's where he's at. Heyman Park, 24 stolen bases. So, I mean, I don't think that they're not a team I'm always comfortable with. If the pitcher's good enough, then I'm fine with attacking them. But if the pitcher's not good enough, I do not feel comfortable. And this guy, to me, is not good enough. Doosan, we know who Doosan is. They'll be popular. Doosan's park has been the most pitcher-friendly park in the game. Doosan has not been the same offense at home. But this game is the outside of the dome game. This is the best game for weather. I fully expect Doosan to be popular, and they should be. And I'll have my fair share. But I think I like Samsung a little bit more. And we'll get into the numbers. Doosan's matchup is way better on paper. Shit, man, I didn't even have it on the right screen for you guys. My bad. Here, this is what I was talking about with the Samsung. I'll let you guys see it. Jaewoo Koo, Seok Lee. Sung Gayu Lee, actually, who I skipped over. I didn't even notice. Sung Gayu Lee. Holla. 250 ISO so far. I mean, these guys got numbers, man. And look, the WOBA and ISO for the team has crept up. Yeah, so I'm getting behind it. I know a lot of you guys were talking about Saladino last night. We're on the stream and, you know, all that good stuff. But I like him. Doosan's bullpen, one of the worst in the biz. Samsung's actually a pretty decent bullpen for the KBO. Now let's get into the dirties. So we'll start with Samsung's pitcher, Eun Dong. He's not good, right? Maybe he's the worst pitcher on the slate. Hard to say. We don't have enough of a sample. But showing a 2.7 ERA with a 6 FIP behind it, he's a fraud. 2.13% K rate. Against Doosan, team that doesn't strike out at all anyway. 2% home run rate. So yeah, Doosan is definitely there's no arguments against that. The only argument against it is they'll be popular. But they're in a good spot despite, minus the fact that they're home and they suck offensively. I'm going to say they suck. They're third place right now in the league, but they're not as good at home offensively. Samsung, what I like most about Samsung's offense, though, is that they don't need to hit home runs to be productive. They are very aggressive on the bases. You guys say it all the time. I think Jeff Dates is always in the chat talking about it. I hear you guys say it all the time. Saladino and Samsung, and they'll small ball you to death. And it could add up. They're like the Oakland A's. You know, well, maybe not now. Oakland A's of like a couple of years ago. They'll just small ball you to death in a big park. They don't care. And Samsung's park's actually the best hitter's park in the league. So this game is in Samsung. Shit, I still am going to stack the shit out of it, most likely. But anyway, looking at Doosan's pitcher, Hu Kwan Yu, 4.88 FIP, not very good. 8% K rate, right up Samsung's alley, gives up homers. I mean, I love this game. So what sucks is I think a lot of the ownership, the people, when they find out that the Dinos game is going to get canceled, they're going to then look to LG. If they think LG is too risky. I mean, they're probably already starting with LG. So it's from there. LG, Doosan's up on that list regardless, right? Doosan be number 1 and number 2 always. Them and LG were going to be the most popular stacks regardless. It's a matter of like how far people got to go before they get to Samsung. That's what it comes to. Like, at what point? You know what I'm saying? Holla for $1. But yeah, so I like the offenses here. I like Samsung particularly because I think they'll be low owned. You know what I mean? Michael Sims with a question: do you use a tool to make do you use a tool to make your lineups or by hand? Yeah. So Michael, just to be clear, man, like I'm one of those dudes that does a ton of lineups typically. I'll do on most nights, but when they have the good contests, I'll do anywhere from 200 to 300 lineups. Now that's in various contests, and the 50 cent, the $1 sometimes, the $4, the $10, the 12, whatever it is. Sometimes I'll do, all those, and then I'll throw in, I'll max out or throw 10 teams in the $44 or the smaller one with 5K up top, something like that, So I do a lot of different teams. You know what I mean? I do a lot of different teams. I use our projections, which are available for download at WiseTake.com. I upload them into Fantasy Cruncher. That's what I use. I have used Roto Grinders before, Lineup HQ. That's another one you could use where you could upload the projections. The optimizer is the machine that's going to build your teams for you. The projections are the brains that tells the optimizer what the best plays on a slate are. See what I'm saying? So the optimizer, they're all pretty much like, they all have little features to make things like randomness and stack features and things to help you as a user. But in reality, the basic algorithm for the optimizer is all the same. Find me the best lineup based off this projection, based off this salary. So based off point per dollar and raw points, find me the best possible lineup I can get. And the projections are what tells the optimizer what the best plays actually are. So to be clear, that's what we do here. So I don't have an optimizer. I use Fantasy Cruncher flat out. I don't have a relationship with them. I'm not an affiliate with them. I reached out to them to try, but they don't want. I don't know. They don't want. I mean, they got a lot of their own shit. I think they got some drama and shit that's been going on. So you might want to. I don't know. Personally, it's ain't nothing about no personal shit. I got no reason to promote them or anything. I'm just telling you because I do believe in transparency myself. So I'm just telling you what product I use. I use it because to me it was the easiest for me to learn. That was really it. Easy to upload the projections, easy to use, easy to export teams. But yeah, the projections and all that stuff, that's kind of like part of the package. So if you're building teams by hand, you got the cheat sheet to help you out. You got my article. You're building teams, MME, you use those to see who the highlighted plays are, but then you upload the projections into an opto, and that kind of gives you the WiseTake flavor on your teams. It's still up to you to set exposures. It's still up to you to tell it, oh no, I want only 20% of this picture or whatever. It's not like you don't just upload that shit and do your thing. It's just kind of something to give you a good basis, give you some of our flavor, and then from there you can use the content or your own research to kind of like figure out what you want. But to be clear, Mike, hopefully that answered your question, my man. Anthony Rodriguez, do you ever check umpire stats during MLB? Yes, actually, we have a hookup in Major League Baseball. I don't know if we still do, if there's even a league, but we used to have a hookup, so we were able to get the umpires pretty early. Basically, the beginning of the week, we would get the sheet that would show you what umpire is going where, and then from there, there's always like the home plate umpire one night is the first base umpire the next night, or something like that. There was like a cycle. I'm not the man. That's Paulie and Patio Joe were the ones that were doing that, but for MLB, yes, Paulie D was big into the umpires. And we would usually get them early. It's not a perfect science. It's not like, oh, there's some site we get it from, right? We just have a list of like, but sometimes there's changes. Oh, this umpire is sick, or this umpire hurt his groin, so he can't be behind home plate. And they don't announce that shit openly. So it's not a perfect science, but yes, that is one of the perks for MLB that we have where we did check that shit. And King B says, yeah, Paulie looks at umpire stats for MLB pretty often. Yep. We had the hookup. That's what people don't realize, though. We had the hookup, though. There's a reason we were able to do it earlier before other people. Jeff says, yeah, they aren't flashy. Death by paper cuts. Yep. It's exactly what it is. But anyway, Nation, that's going to do it. I'll have my article out, but I like I said, I like doing these streams, hanging out with y'all, and I think I have a better idea of where I want to go. I'm glad we got some kind of weather insight going into this, especially for those of you that has to kind of risk it. Jeff says these umpires are entertaining. Yes, they are. Extremely, man. I like the ones where like they look towards the floor and they start looking like they're punching the floor when they're striking someone. When it's a strikeout, it looks like it was a more Super Mario game because they got the big old shoulder pads and the big stuff, so they look all this and you see them like they're breaking blocks or something. I don't know, Mario or some shit. But yeah, it's I think it's funny too, man. I like to watch the umpires. They're hilarious. I mean, if I'm a player and an umpire's that when I played baseball, I mean, I've always had kind of a temper. But when I played baseball, especially, right? I'm sure most of you can relate to that, right? You want to win. So you get mad when there's a bad call or some shit like that. And if I had an umpire that was enthusiastically punching me out, like I would take that as an insult. I can't even help it. I would take it as an insult. But if the umpire did it in a way that was entertaining enough to where even I was entertained, then I probably just laugh that shit off. So that's the counter. It's got to be real good. You can't just react all aggressive. That's obnoxious as fuck, you know. But if you're doing a whole, that's actually kind of funny. Maybe not what I just did, but when they do it in the moment, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I think I've been on here for too long for today. With that said, good luck, nation. Let's see some screenshots. We do cover League of Legends. I don't have a stream for it, but I have projections that I do. We got the PGA projections. If you're playing some golf, go get down. Brewmedic and Shockey, our hockey experts, PGA experts, have their articles posted up, one for cash game, one for tournaments. So go check out our packages at WiseTake.com if you're interested. They have a show up that's free on YouTube. Go watch the show if you want to save money and still get some help. But yeah, we got a lot going on, man. We got NASCAR this weekend. We've got obviously KBO pretty much every day. We've got NHL is going to come back at some point too. Shockey and Brew are pretty pumped for that one. There's a lot going on. League of Legends, PGA, big DFS day tomorrow. League of Legends, PGA starts, KBO, all in the morning. Let's fucking go, man. Let's make some fucking... I want to see some screenshots. You guys better send me some fucking screenshots. At CK_013. Let's see some screenshots. And again, just a quick reminder before I get out of here, because I forgot to say this before. Don't forget to check us out. I'm sorry, wait. Follow us. Follow the WiseTake Twitter at Wise_Take, because these lineups you saw on the screen today, they're all projected lineups. You know what I'm saying? So that means that they're not confirmed. We don't know, right, what the lineups are just yet. They don't come out until at least an hour before lock, sometimes half an hour before lock. So I do update them. When I update them, it automatically reflects onto our projections and our cheat sheets. Players that are not in the lineup get a 0. Players that are in the lineup get their projection. So it's important. It's important. For sure. But yeah, check on the WiseTake Twitter if you do use our content, and I will announce when the lineups are confirmed for subscribers. With that said, for myself, the entire WiseTake Nation, as always, good luck.